Kotlin data class, there may arise a situation where we need to create a class solely to hold data. That means this class will be created to hold data only. In such cases, you can mark the class as data. Data is the keyword to create a data class. So let us go for one example. So data class name. So this data keyword will be there, class employee, and this employee will be containing two fields. One is the employee name and the one is the employee age. For this class, the compiler automatically generates copy function, equals, hash code pair and toString from of the primary constructor. Component end functions. So all these functions will get created by the respective compiler. Here are the requirements. The primary constructor must have at least one parameter. The parameters of the primary constructor must be marked as either val, read only, or var, there is a read write. So they are actually concerning this one. So this is the primary constructor of this class. Data must be written at the forward, at the beginning, and here we are supposed to mention either val or var. The class cannot be open, abstract, inner or sealed. The class may extend other classes or implement interfaces. If we are using Kotlin version before 1.1, the class can only implement interface. So these are the restrictions we are having depending upon the version. That means for the Kotlin version prior to 1.1, the class can only implement interfaces. So that's why this is the different features and requirements of the data class. So let us go for one example to show you that how this data class can be used in our Kotlin program. Here is the demonstration for you. We are going to discuss the inner class in Kotlin. So here you can write one class, that is the outer one, and another class as the inner one. So here this inner keyword has to be used. Otherwise, if we don't write this inner keyword, then it seems that we are defining one nested class. So in the outer class, we have defined one variable, that is the property here. So that is the outer class str, and within the inner class we have defined one property and one method, and this method returns this respective string. So now here this outer class object has been created calling its constructor, and then outer class str is getting printed. So now let me show you the output also at the same time. So here is the output for us. So at first this line is getting printed, define variable outside of the inner class. So define variable outside of the inner class. Next one, we are defining one object of the outer class dot the object of the inner class dot inner class str. So this particular message is going to get printed here. So that's why define variable inside of the inner class. So define variable inside of the inner class. Next one, outer class object dot inner class object dot some function. So the method has been accessed and it is returning this respective string, and the string has to be printed. So define function inside the inner class. So define function inside the inner class. So that line has got printed. Now we are going to define one explicit object of the inner class. So that can be defined in this way. So now we can access the inner class str, and also we can call the respective sum function. So accordingly these two lines got printed in the output. So in this way we can define the inner class within the outer class. What is the basic difference between nested class and inner class? In case of nested class, the class cannot access the inner class cannot access the outer class members. That means if you go to the nested class, which we discussed earlier, here in this nested class we don't write any keyword prior to that, and here this outer class, these members cannot be accessed within this nested class. But in case of inner class, we are supposed to write this inner keyword, and this outer class members can be accessed from this inner class. So instead of writing this, if I want to write this one also, the program will get executed. Let me show you the output. So here you see the program is getting executed, and this sum function is actually returning outer class str. So when this particular sum function will be called, then it will be returning the outer class str. So that's why this line has got changed here. So in this way, we have shown you that outer class members can be accessed from the inner class. So if I want to write the same here, so if I make this line under comment in our nested class, and if I go for say sum function, and that is causing error because the outer class members cannot be accessed from the nested class, and that is a basic difference between the nested class and the inner class. So here it is working fine, but here it is showing me errors. Thanks for watching this video.